All this combined with list management and partnering a medication, you've changed your life when it comes to your RD-minded challenges. This episode on Your RD Mind is all about strategies. Now, there are hundreds and hundreds of strategies. I'm obviously not going to go over them, but the idea is that strategies build structure and habits and routine into your everyday life, and those are things that will be very beneficial to you. People like me with an obsessive mind, we just naturally do routines and habits. We just do. And many times to our disadvantage, like we're stuck in doing the same thing every single day of our lives. So gifts and challenges go both ways. But if you have an RD mind, you're not typically going to fall into habits and routines. You may, and you may have already, and things you've done because it works for you. Like the classic case is your car keys. We all learn to put them in the same place when we get home after getting out of the car, because if we don't know where they are in the morning or whatever. But this is classic for somebody with an RD mind, is they're not typically putting them in the same place or just whatever after they get out of the car and into the house. And the next morning they get to the car and like, well, where are my keys? I don't know. And then go looking, and it's just frustrating. So, a classic habit routine to learn is where to put my car keys every single night after I get home and get out of the car. There are routines like around laundry. There are routines around going through mail. That may include partnering or not, but building in habits and structure and routines is fantastic. And by the way, being employed in a structured job is extremely helpful if you have an RD mind. Not too much structure, but not too little. Because I find people who have their own businesses and there's not deadlines, it's hard to get routined and structured for the day, and then like, oh my God, the day it's gone, I've lost my day, and then that's stressful, So you want enough structure, and your own imposed structure often can work in terms of routines and habits, but sometimes imposing your structure, there's actually no deadline, there's no purpose, so it's really hard to do. One of the key strategies is having structure, enough structure, whether it's imposed by others because it's a job or whatever, or it's imposed by you in the sense that it's a deadline. You got to get something done, because if you don't get it done, you're in trouble somehow. And then that fear response focuses you, like all humans, on, going to do it now. And that's one of the classic things of your life. If you have an RD mind, you always get things done at the last minute. The thing about the RD mind is that you're going along, you've got something to do, but multiple distractions, many thoughts per second, means you're not getting to it. And you're starting to think, how do I start it? And it's just don't. We call that procrastination. Every human procrastinates, but there's a certain kind of RD-minded procrastination. But then there's 12 hours to go before that thing is due, and you suddenly you got a fear response, we call it anxiety or whatever, and you go, oh my God, and then you focus like a laser. So you go from multiple thoughts per second to one, and that's called hyperfocus. And because you're wicked smart, in Maine we use the term wicked as in very, so wicked smart, then you laser, you get it done, and the person you hand it into or whatever, boss or teacher, that's great, that's awesome. They had no idea that you put it off for 3 weeks and did it in the last 12 hours, because you don't need to know. That's up to you. But the point is, that's classic RD-minded sort of life. So that causes focus. Either you love something or you fear the outcome if you don't do it. But if you do have some strategies of habits and routines and structure along the way, it's easier. It's more manageable. Again, if you're using medication every day or when you need it, it's so much easier to focus, right? Because there are fewer thoughts per second. It's so much easier to go okay, do it now, than without medication. So just keep that completely in mind. That's why medication is one of the 3 legs of the stool, because it just helps with that part too. list management system, which I want to review later on. That's one of the best strategies too. So it's usually finding, like on your smartphone, an app that is a list management app, and it synchronizes or syncs in the cloud so that you can see it on your laptop and your tablet and whatever you use. People who adopt this have enormously successful day-to-day life because the list management system is like an extension of your brain, and it enables you to stay on top of what you really got to do. Again, I'm going to have another episode of a suggestion that I make to everybody, how to set that up. Because it is remarkably helpful when you set it up and you use it in a routine, like every morning. Coffee, list management on my phone, every single morning. Because you have to do it all the time, or of course it loses complete effectiveness. So those things together. Overall, strategies are very particular to the person, their life, their lifestyle, what's going on, family or not, kids or not, etc., etc. Strategies are really specific to you. But there is one thing I want to show you, and this is a book called ADD Friendly Ways to Organize Your Life by Judith Kohlberg and Kathleen Netto. And I've recommended this book, hundreds of times, hopefully. And I know a lot of people have bought it. I think this is an older print. I think the newer print looks different. But anyway, this is a book full of ADD strategies. And the reason, because Judith Kohlberg is an organizer basically, and Dr. Netto is a psychologist. So they combine to create ADD or RD-minded specific strategies. Because if you just get an organizing book, it's not written for you, and it's like, how do I do all that? These things are specifically written for you. So it's broken up into obviously chapters like taking charge of ADD, thing organizing, time organizing, paper organizing. So you have all these different strategies. I tell my patients, buy it, thumb through it. When you find something like basic scheduling, overcoming commitment, there's just all sorts of great strategies. This is the book. I've never seen any other book as good as this around strategies. Get this, use it. Don't read it cover to cover. That's not the point. Skim through it, find things that work, adopt those things. All this combined with list management and partnering and medication, you've changed your life when it comes to your RD-minded challenges. Changed it. This is a great part of it. So, to finish up on strategies, they're the third leg of the stool along with medication and partnering, and together it's life-changing. So I hope this has been helpful because you deserve it and you are awesome.